Yes. Let us see. So we have completed the first task in our application development. So the second task is you supposed to insert the data, but there is a problem in that. What is the problem? See, you constructed a house, and in the construction you constructed walls, even doors, windows, everything you made it. But you have not made the lock and key arrangements, and also additional security arrangements like CCTV camera, security, this kind of things are not made. Then can we use that residence which is not having lock and key facility? Is it possible? Not possible. Because the days are not like Gupta's year. Okay. Gupta's era means we studied in the history. Chandragupta, okay, Maurya. So at that time, people are used to live without any locks, even without any other kind of security arrangements. People are lived like that. That is almost all. That is 2000 years back. Okay. So now that kind of things are not, even lock and key is there also, double locks are also there, security also there, chori ho raha hai. No, dog also there additionally. Okay. So wo zamana chal raha hai abhi. So like that, only here we created a table, but security arrangements nahi kiya. Security के बारे में कुछ भी नहीं किया अभी तक. See, we are developing an application. See how we are going step by step, how the application is completely developed. Ekdam real time, you will be seeing it and will be very happy at the end of it when a product is ready. Okay? Because you feel, yes, I did it. Right? Okay. So now, let me show what kind of issues will be there if a table is created without any security arrangements. So we created a table yesterday with all kind of comments, columns, everything. Table is there. Okay. So even in front of you, I'll create one more time. So you know the file which we have prepared yesterday. So AVD, in that we are having a file called employee.sql. Every time .sql is not necessary. Why? Because that is the default extension. Even if you don't give the .sql, automatically it will take. Simply if you write employee also, it will open the file. Okay. So spelling we have to see. E:\avd employee. No, not like that. No, that is not. Its file should be there. It's extension automatically leta hai. File high or nahi we have to see. Any replacement hua. AVD. Oh, change हुआ, नाम चेंज दिया, इसके दो आया. ओके, से इसके लिए वो नहीं आ रहा. ओके, DEV और एक क्रिएट किया ना हम. Let us see DEV development. It may be having it. Yes. Idhar hai na sab. Right. So here we are having a table in DV. Okay. Development. DV. So dot SQL, if you देना है तो दे दीजिए, नहीं दिया तो भी चलता है. Okay, because we are in the SQL plus editor. SQL plus editor is having the capacity to recognize the default extension as a dot SQL. Okay, so इसमें header section लिखा and then anchor section भी है and command section भी है. Commands भी लिख दिया and documentation भी किया. Now if I run this one, table will be created. If I run this, table will be created. But the point here is, I said the table is created without any security arrangements. और घर को security arrangements नहीं है तो कैसे चोरी होता है? How it is damaged, looted, like that. When a table is created without any restrictions or security arrangements, we call them as constraints. What we call them? Constraints. If a table is created without constraints, that means without any restrictions, without any security arrangements, if you create a table, it is possible to enter wrong data. It is possible to enter wrong data. So different wrong data rows can be entered. See here, I am entering some Gulf data. I am showing there is an employee 100 AAA. Actually allowed gender is either capital M for male, capital F for female, but Galat data may be A. It is of no meaning. Gender A is of no meaning. There is a meaning for M, there is a meaning for F, male and female. But a Galat data diya, a data entry operator not done intentionally, but by mistake, instead of entering M or F, he entered A in the keypad. A enter हो गया, गलत data enter हो गया. Then कैसे actually decide whether this fellow is a male or female? We can't decide it. Tomorrow, if there are 150 candidates are there, in the reports of males will come, in the reports of female will become, but this आदमी नहीं रहता, neither male category में नहीं रहता, female category में नहीं रहता. एक गलत data है. It should not be allowed. It should not be entertained. But now it is happening because we have not restricted it. We have not restricted the table with any arrangements as constraints, data integrity constraints. We call them data integrity constraints. Data integrity constraints means data is restricted for integration. Integration means for correct functionality. India is a integral country. Our Indian people live in integration, means with proper understanding, without hatredness. Okay, so without fighting, everybody in India, everyone in India is living with a harmony. That is called integration. Correct or not? So otherwise, disintegration, diversion, it leads to terrorism. Okay, so that kind of things will be seen. So here data integrity constraint, data integrity constraints. So what is meant by data integrity constraints? So data integrity constraints are nothing but, okay, so they are going to restrict the data entry on a table in such a way that only valid data is allowed. Any invalid data you enter, it will stop immediately. Sorry, I cannot allow you into the table. Understood? That is the use of the data integrity constraint. So in real time, simply creating a table will not be sufficient and it will not finish your work. Table is still incomplete until this data integrity constraints are declared on the table. If you don't declare data integrity constraints, then the table is incomplete. It cannot be used until you declare the data integrity constraints. Okay. By default, so here we are writing, by default, Oracle creates a table without any restrictions. So क्या होता है? There is a chance of entering wrong data, or invalid data, okay, into the table. Okay, in order to prevent this invalid data, it is mandatory to declare data integrity constraints on the table. Understood, all of you? Data integrity constraints on the table. These are nothing but imposing restrictions called constraints on table columns, so that if the data that is entered into the column satisfies the restriction, then it is allowed to insert into the column. Otherwise, it is rejected. Understood? As simple as that. Okay. Data integrity constraints we are going to discuss in two parts, because as per the application development requirement, we does not require all data integrity constraints now itself. By default, Oracle creates a table without any restrictions. So there is a chance of entering wrong data, invalid data into the table. In order to prevent this invalid data, it is mandatory to declare data integrity constraints on the table. These are nothing but, these means data integrity constraints are nothing but imposing restrictions. Restrictions is nothing but constraints. So on table columns, so declaring constraint on a table is nothing but declaring constraint on a table column, because I don't want to allow A into the gender. Gender is a column. We are restricting actually gender column. Okay. So column, so that if the data that is entered, okay, into columns satisfies the restriction, then it is allowed to insert into the column. Otherwise, it is rejected. Understood? So what are the integrity constraints are there in Oracle? We are going to list out. Okay. So types of data integrity constraints. Types of data integrity constraints. Okay. Oracle is providing 6 types of data integrity constraints. So as part 1 we discussed 4, part 2 another 2. Okay, because part 2 is dealing the second 2 integrity constraints because it is required for our second table. Okay, for that one 2 tables are required, otherwise it cannot be done. Okay, so types of data integrity constraints. Okay, so Oracle is providing 6 types of data integrity constraints. Okay, so what are those? First one is not null or mandatory constraint. Okay, that is the first one. Second one is unique key constraint. Third one is primary key constraint. Okay, primary key constraint. Fourth one is check constraint. Fifth one is foreign key constraint. Okay, so and then sixth one is ref constraint. Okay, in most of the colleges, even in engineering colleges, in most of the institutions, they teach wrongly because they may not be worked in real time. Okay, so that is the reason they teach there are 6 constraints. Default is one of the constraint. They teach like that. Default is not a constraint. Yesterday we discussed that is not a constraint. That is the only helper. If you don't enter the data, it will enter the data. Okay, it won't restrict it. Even yesterday we created default value. Don't enter the data while inserting for all the 4 columns. Null value insert karta hai. Ye galat hai. Many institutions, many organizations, even many websites, the most worst scenario is many websites, blogs in the internet also saying that default value is one of the constraints in Oracle. That is blunder. Okay, so then you may ask a question, what guarantee that what you are teaching is correct, or where we are going to get the correct details, authenticated details, where we will get? For that one, you have to visit Oracle's authorized documentation. Oracle authorized documentation. You should not read any other thing other than Oracle authorized documentation. We are studying which version of the Oracle database? 19C. So you have to type in Google Oracle 19C documentation. You type it. Okay, it will show you Oracle 19C documentation. Okay, so there you'll be seeing the Oracle documentation for 19C. Here you can download the complete documentation. Download is also there. You can browse it also if you want. Okay, it is available in the form of books. Lot of books are there. Here the total stuff will be there for you. Okay, this documentation is not only for developers, for DBAs, business intelligence people, middle tier people, So testers, many people it is there. So going through that one sometimes is difficult for learners. That is the reason what I suggest you use Oracle. Since we are seeing Oracle data integration, Oracle data, okay, integrity constraints, okay, integrity constraints in Oracle 19C, you type it. Data integrity constraints in Oracle 19C, you type it. Okay. It will take you to the Oracle website only. Okay. See, release is 19, showing the release. Data integrity constraints. Okay. Types of integrity constraints. You go through the types of integrity constraints. Okay. So you check up what are the types are there for us. Say not null constraint is there. Unique constraint is there. Again, primary constraint is there. Foreign key constraint is there. Check constraint is there. Ref constraint is there. Is there anywhere default value is there? No. So it's clear. See, you learn a lot of wrong information. When you are learning in an unprofessional environment, okay, your college also up to some extent unprofessional when it is not in a top rated college. Okay, so top rank, so ranks will be given to all the colleges, correct or not? So if your college is not below 50 ranks, then I can say that is non-standard college. 50 or 60 or at least 200. The best is obtained below 30 ranked colleges. Above 30 means okay, average. But once you crossed 70 or 100, then performance is below average. 150, 200, 250 means studying the college is of no use. At least you will have only qualification degree. Okay. Later you have to study from any other place. Okay. So ranks are, college rank is important before joining into the college. All over India, for every college ranks are given, not only for engineering, but non-technical also. For engineering, very particular there. Okay. So that is the reason many of the people learn wrong concepts. Due to that, in the interview, they fail. You may feel that you study in some college and some institution and you go to the interviewer will ask how many constraints, you say 6 or 7 or 5. Some institutions teach only 5 constraints. Some people teach 6, but 6 as default. So because of that one, if you go to interview, you will tell wrong answer. He will be asking, is it correct? You say, yes, correct. Are you sure? You say, yes, I am sure. Because in the book, in whatever you studied from the organization, it is there. Even in many blogs also in the internet, it will be seen. No, wrong answer. Then you will be feeling that this fellow is already taken some money. That is this job is already fixed to match fixing ho gaya. You will think wrong about him. बाहर आने के बाद आप ब्लॉग देखता है, उधर आंसर करते हैं. So immediately you call to your friend. Hey, I already answered properly. That fellow is saying wrong. Even in the internet showing correct. That organization HR is a wrong fellow. You will scold. You will be in the same mood. Your friend also in the same mood because both of you study in the same place. So this is the problem. This is the problem in the education when you are not learning from the standard organizations. The most important thing. Luckily, you are in an AVD group. Okay, you are getting the standard training, authenticated training. I am an Oracle certified professional. Okay, so Oracle is also giving certifications. Okay, Oracle OCA, OCP, OCM. Okay, OCM means master. I'm a OCM certified person. That is the highest certificate in the Oracle. Okay, OCA, OCP, OCM. OCA for beginners. Yes, I'm having OCM. Okay, so I did it long ago. Okay, because I'm having 29 years of experience. Naturally, automatically happens that. Yes. So my Oracle working with Oracle started in 1988 with 6.0. Only in Linux, Unix versions, no Linux, no Windows at that time. Windows OS is not yet in the market, no mouse at that time. Okay, only character based. Okay, that is the scenario. Anyhow, your generation is very lucky because everything is comfortably designed now. Competition is there, but we are also having a power. Okay, so we are having a power to stand for the competition. If there is no competition, maja nahi rata. Correct or not? Competition hai to maja rata hai. Nahi hai to kya rata hai? Neend aata hai. Okay, right. Okay. So now 6 data. So all of you, I'm saying, don't read any blogs. That SQL schools, WW schools, that school, वो सबको हटा दीजिए. Only study in the Oracle 19C documents. Don't see any other things. So you may feel initially difficult in understanding the terminology when you read it before I teach. But later, after I give a lecture, you will feel it's very easy, happy to read it. Okay. So that is the thing. So this is the way we are having the constraints. Okay. Anyhow, I am not going to go along with the Oracle documentation. Okay. So directly I'll explain. So here you see the first two. Similarly, I just show one mistake here. Okay. So check constraint. This is called check constraint actually. So like this, many mistakes we can do. Duplicate entry, entering duplicate values. Okay, already I entered 100 number. I assign 100 number to an employee AAA. If you insert again 100 to another employee, okay, so the same 100 number to another employee, okay, so it is going to take. So the problem is 100 is actually assigned to AAA. Again 100 is BBB is also assigned with the same ID. How two employees will have same ID? It is not allowed. Two customers can have same account number unless otherwise they are having combined account, joint account. Otherwise, two individuals without having joining given same account number, kya hota hai? Other person will withdraw, one person will deposit. These are all wrong things. We have to restrict. So how do you restrict this? With the help of some constraints like unique constraint, primary key constraint as a constraint set. So instead of showing how to enter wrong data, instead of seeing that, we'll see step by step, constraints by constraints, we'll see here. So let us start our discussion with not null constraint. Okay? Not null constraint. Not null constraint is also called mandatory. So if you declare this constraint on any column, entry into the column is mandatory. Without entering entry data into that column, if you enter data to the remaining columns, it says, sorry, you have not entered data for this column. Even though you entered for remaining columns, since you have not entered the data for this column, I am not going to allow you to insert the row. Because of the entry for that column is not there, total is cancelled. Okay. You are not taken a hall ticket to the examination center. You are having an Aadhaar card. You are having a pad, pen, eraser, pencil. Okay, cell phone, somehow. But hall ticket is not there. Are they going to allow? No, because hall ticket is mandatory. So you will be rejected from the examination center due to not having the hall ticket. Like that only, if you enter the name of the employee, even gender of the employee, even salary of the employee, if you don't enter employee number, the mandatory field is missing. So it is not correct. Entering an employee detail without employee number is not correct. Every employee must have a unique number. Correct or not? Like that only, every employee must have a name also. Is it mandatory or not? Yes. And every human also, employee also must be distinguished, male or female. At the time of joining, I don't give my gender. Later we'll see it's not allowed. So mandatory. Salary that some organizations, after seeing the performance for 1 month as a trial period or as a trainee, they take it and they fix after 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. So salary is not mandatory initially. So like that, in some columns, the data is not mandatory. Even if there is a reservation, suppose there is a category, are you come under reservation? Are you come under handicapped? Are you come in ex-serviceman or serviceman quota, a sports quota? Do you have driving license? Do you have passport? These are not mandatory fields. If you are having, you can give. If you don't have, we can skip them. That type of columns are called null columns. And the columns which are mandatory, those are called not null columns. Null means we can leave them without entering any data if you want. If it is mandatory, then we say it is a not null. That means you are not supposed to leave that field empty. Compulsorily you have to enter the data. Empty means what? Empty means not entering any data. Keeping 0 is not empty. Even typing some blank space bar, that is also not correct. Blank is not empty. The value of the blank is ASCII value 32. Do you know? So blank is also a value. Okay, don't keep the things with blank space. Blank space is also galat hai. Okay, 0. So null means null state. Null state means not having any data. Null is not 0, not blank space, not any other symbol. It is a state of not having a data in a column. That is called null. The state of not having any data is called. This is defined by Dr. E.F. Card. Total our Oracle database is the relational database. It is based on the theory proposed by Dr. E.F. Card in 1970. Before you born, before I born. Okay. So 1970. And he made 12 rules. He made 12 rules. What are the 12 rules? So one by one we see. First rule I already explained. What is the first rule? The information rule. It says that the only way to store data in the database is in the form of table only, relation only. Other than the table or relation concept, there is no other way to store data in the relation. If you go to interview, they may ask a question. How many ways to store data in Oracle database? You have to give answer as what? Only one way. What is that? Table. Then you will ask a question, why? 90% of people, if they are not learning professionally from people like me, they'll give answer. It is like that only. Why are you asking, mad fellow? I already said no. You may be thinking. Okay. Since we give corporate trainings to MNCs and we give trainings to professionals, So we are very particular about everything. Even in the interview, we are going to, when I'm in the panel also, I'm very keen in asking the people to check their knowledge properly. Understand? So that is the reason here the answer should be why means we have to tell the Oracle is a relational database. It is designed based on RDBMS rules proposed by Dr. E.F. Khan. In that there is a rule number 1, the information rule. That rule says the only way to store data or represent data in Oracle database or any relational database in the form of table only. That is the reason my answer is correct. Then he says, yes, he's having a depth of the knowledge in the right direction. Is a perfect. Why people get more salary? Because of this knowledge. Understanding. So why high packages are given in the same company? So normal people will have a person who passed out from IIT, Microsoft give 1 crore, 1.5 crore. A person pass out from engineering college, rank 200, 150, get a salary of 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs. Where is the difference? Knowledge difference. Okay, knowledge difference. That difference we are filling the gap here. We are reducing the total gap. Okay, whether he is a IITian, whether he is a NITian, whether he is a engineering college graduate, when they come, whether they are technical, non-technical, when they come to for this professional training, that gap will be removed. You can also compete for higher salaries with everybody. Okay, so now we'll define. See, you may get a curiosity. I want to see the CARDS rules. 12 CARDS rules you are saying, you are quoting the CARDS rules while teaching this subject. Even you are saying interview point of view, these are important. Can I see RDBMS rules? Okay, you can see RDBMS rules. Okay, CARDS rules are RDBMS rules. Okay, so you see the CARDS rules are RDBMS rules. Better you see in Wikipedia. This is a general discussion. Okay, it's a general discussion. So CARDS rules, total 12 rules are there. CARDS 12 rules are set of 13 rules. 12 rules and again he's saying 13 rules means there is a actually the data which in the raw format which is not having any restrictions comes under the 0 rule. We call it as 0. Okay, is a pioneer of the relational model for databases designed to define what is required from a database management system in order to consider, in order for it to be considered relational. If you want to make it relational, compulsory 12 CARDS rules has to be followed. Okay, in Wikipedia, just type RDBMS CARDS rules, you can get. Okay, see, we'll see them, some of the rules. Look at this. History rules, all these 1970, 1974, 1980. Anyhow, the history is not social lecture. Okay. The foundation rule means as it is the system, however the data is there, that is the foundation raw data, rule number 0. Then you leave it. Rule number 1, what I said? The information rule. All information in a relational database is represented explicitly at a logical level and exactly in one way by values in tables. Only one way in relational database in the form of table. Exactly the same words not necessarily to be represented. No need to by-heart the words. Tell them meaningful way. That is sufficient. Okay. And then rule number 2 we'll discuss later. Whenever it comes, I'll show. The rule number 3, systematic treatment of null values. So that's what we are discussing, not null constraint. Rule number 3. What is the rule number 3? Systematic treatment of null values. So null values distinct from the empty character. I already said empty. Empty means not having anything. Empty set means no sets, no elements in the set. Empty set is not having 0 also. Okay, 0 is considered as one element. Empty set means not having anything. Okay, distinct from the empty character string or a string of blank characters. Even having a blank is also not allowed. Blank is also not allowed. Space is also. And distinct from 0, it is not 0 also. Or any number or any other symbol supported in fully relational database for representing only missing information or inapplicable information in a systematic way, independent of data type. Data type may be number, data type may be date, data type may be interval, data type may be character type. Null means not having the data. Okay, null means not having the data. So if I say salary is null, means for that employee salary is not yet defined. Not yet defined. Okay, it will be defined. Okay, this is the way. And like that only, if I write PAN is not there, permanent assessment number or income tax number or driving license number or the passport number is not there for an employee. That means that fellow right now is not having that feature. It is not there for him. Okay, so that is not there for that person. Suppose there is a column handicapped quota is there for you or reservation is there for you. If you write S, then you are comes under that quota. If you don't write anything in that, it indicates it is not applicable. See, you are not applicable. Okay. Today you are not a reservation candidate. You are born in some other caste which is comes under the open caste or open source OC. So you cannot apply to a government job in that in any particular category like OBC or any other economically backward. But in a column of that kind, there you don't enter the data. Why? It is not applicable to you. The people who are applicable, they say yes and they produce a document. This is my caste certificate. Correct or not? So generally null is used for two situations. Null is used for two situations. One is not applicable. That means in future also not possible. You born in some other caste, so never you get a reservation. Again you have to die and again take a born. By that time reservations are there or not, we don't. Anyhow, it is not applicable. Okay. Another situation is what? Not yet decided. Salary is there. Salary not applicable means nobody joining a company. Correct or not? So today or tomorrow salary has to be given. How many days you will work without salary? For entire life you don't work, no. So it comes under not yet decided. Okay, not yet decided or not yet given. But in future it is updated. In future it is updated, but right now it is not yet decided. It is unknown at this point of time. So null will be having two states, two situations. Will represent a column with null state in two situations. If data at that point of time is not yet decided or unknown. Second situation, it is not applicable, in future also may not be. That is one point. Another point is null is not a zero, not a blank space. Even it is we say empty kind of thing. Okay. Null means it is a state not having anything. Okay. This chair is occupied. It is actually not null. That chair is not having occupation. It is null. Nobody is there. So it is a null chair. This is a not null. Here all are not null chairs because somebody is there. Okay, that somebody may be something, someone is different. Someone, Ajay, Vijay, something, Anand, Ganesh, something will be there. Okay, so like this, different people will be there. Different chairs will have different people, but not null. All are come under not null, but that is a null chair. So I want to see how many null chairs are there to accommodate how many people more. Correct or not? In real time, we are going to find out like the difference between null and not null. It's very important. Null and not null is very important, and most of the time for performance purpose also we have to see. Right, at higher level, in a senior level, I already said when I give training to the above 6 years, 6 and 6 above years people, this null is more important for performance monitoring and tuning. For you, only security purpose you are learning. For them, your performance purpose they learn in depth. Okay, right then. Let us see. So here, not null constraint. So this constraint is declared on a column of a table in order to make data entry mandatory while entering a row into a table. Okay, see, this constraint is declared on a column of a table in order to make data entry mandatory while entering a row into a table. In other words, it is not possible to insert a row into a table without entering data into not null column. So if you declare a column as a not null column, compulsory you have to make data entry. For example, ENO, ename, gender are considered as not null columns. Okay, because this data, hello. No, Alavisharan cannot go. It will be first. Hello. Suddenly, hello. Hello. निकाल दिया बैटरी को भी निकाल दिया नो बैटरी गया नो लाइट बैटरी ना था कृष्णा बैटरी हो गया नहीं नो इंडिकेटर Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello. Hello. See here. See here. I just completed the typing of the concept in the middle. I just read out. So we discussed what is a not null. Okay. So this constraint is declared on a column of a table in order to make data mandatory while entering a row into a table. In other words, it is not possible to insert a row, okay, to insert a row into a table without entering data into not null column. For example, ENO, ename, gender are considered as not null columns because the data is must for every employee. Okay, otherwise how do you know? Okay, but salary column may be null. Okay, type means initially salary column can be there without any salary, but later it is decided over a period of time in future based on the performance of the employee. Understood? Okay, so null means according to the RDBMS rule number 3, the systematic, okay, value or systematic rule of or treatment of null values, according to rule number 3, the systematic treatment of null values. Null is not a blank space, comma, or zero. Gone. According to the rule number 3 of RDBMS rules, the rule of systematic treatment of null values, null is not a zero or a blank space or zero or empty or any other symbol Okay, symbol may be number or special symbol or digit or alphabet. Okay. It is nothing but a state of not having data in two situations. Not having data in two situations. One is not applicable, and second is unknown or not yet decided. Now, understood? This is the entry point. So entry point should be no. That give the extra power for your answer. Okay, extra mileage, extra power, extra salary. Okay, right. So I already said everybody should get 2 or 3 offers. I'm telling. Okay, 2 or 3 offers, not 1 offer. Sir, I got 1 offer. Very good. Don't join. Go for the second offer and bargain. Demand. Okay. It is a yes. Tell me. Not a reserved one. It is not a reserved one. It may be not applicable. In future, it may be occupied. No. Future updation can be reserved means, of course, in future which data comes we don't know. But right now there is a reservation as such is not there. Okay, not having data. That's all. Future it may come or it may not come at all. Reserved means future may come. That is the problem. Difference understood, right? So according to the rule number 3 of RDBMS rules, the rule of systematic treatment of null values, null is not a blank space, okay, not a blank space, not 0 or not empty, okay, not a 0, not a blank space, and not empty or any other symbol. It is nothing but a state of not having data in two situations. One is not applicable and second is unknown or not yet decided. क्या आता है future में मालूम नहीं, or it is not applicable in future. It never happened there. Example, in future you don't get reservation because you born in a family which is non-reservation category. Okay, it never happened. Okay, salary, it may be decided after your training period of 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. It happens. Driving license, right now you don't have, in future you will get it. Passport, PAN card you don't have today, tomorrow you will apply and get it in a week time. Correct or not? So these are all comes under the null columns. Those columns are called null columns. In future it may come or it never come. Whereas not null columns means now only I want. Compulsory, otherwise get lost. Not allowed. Restriction. Without employee number, not allowed. So what is your name? No, my name is not known to me or my father did not keep any name to me. You are not eligible. Get lost. Or I don't know my gender. Here only employees who are known genders are taken. Unknown genders we don't take. Our rules are not going to accept. Reject. Correct or not? These 3 fields are mandatory or not? Mandatory. Okay. To restrict like that, we are going to use a not null constraint. Okay. So how do you declare not null constraint? See, declaration of not null constraint I am going to show you. Create table, say EMP 504, I am declaring ENO number of 6, okay, number of 6, comma, okay, number of 6, comma, before comma, sorry, don't keep the comma, not null, then keep a comma, salary, number of 9, comma 2. See the example. Describe the table. EMP 504. For ENO, it is saying not null. That means data entry is compulsory. If you don't enter the data into ENO, it says get lost. I don't allow the row insertion. Okay. But salary, null one. Okay. Right now you can skip entering the salary. In future you update if you want. Future you can update it, not a problem. But right now it is not there. It is represented as a null. Okay. So this is the way first you have to decide. Then you are typing insert into EMP 504. Okay. Values. Okay. So here I am entering salary only without employee number. See here. Values 10,000 is given. I skipped entering the data into which column? ENO. Array, not salary. I skipped entering data into which column? I skipped ENO column. I am giving data for salary column. For salary, 10,000 there hai. But employee number not mentioned. Have you declared any default value? No. When there is no default value is there, when there is no value supplied, then it is going to represent as a null. Okay, if you don't enter the data, it will take null when there is no default value. Then see here, it is given an error. Remember the error code. Remember the error code. Error code is what? Vara-0 1400. Oracle is having more than 1 lakh errors. You may ask, sir, you are saying remember the error code. That means you mean to teach all 1 lakh errors. Not necessary. The most commonly occurring errors around 30 to 50 will be there. Okay. So those 30 to 50 errors, if you are able to remember, that is sufficient. If you go to the interview, they will ask this error code. Tell me any of the 5 errors that you are getting in your day-to-day activity in the company, or what are the 5 errors you have seen most commonly during your application development. If you see like this, what is going to happen? He will decide he is not a right candidate. But the question he asked, I want 5 common errors. You say, yes, these are the 5 errors I am getting. Okay. Or you say, I am not getting any error, but most commonly occurring errors are these. That means it is more best answer. Why? You are developing a code without error. Correct or not? Without any galat, aapka kaam aap sambhal rahe. Correct or not? Errors are very less, means more professional. Generally, I don't get errors because we do the work in a professional manner, but generally there is a scope of getting these 5 errors. How is the answer? See, the interview cracking is the important and demanding the salary, because the salary will be fixed based on the recommendation of the technical person who is conducting interview. The panel is going to recommend this guy is high performed, above average, average performed. Based on that only HR is going to fix the salary for you. For high performed, there is a bracket for you. Liberty, leverage to demand more salary, they fix more salary. Okay, right. So you remember 1400. Why, sir? Why have to remember? In future, we are going to handle it. If this type of thing, if data entry operator don't enter the data, who is going to enter the data into the table like employee, loan product? We are created a loan product table for entering the loan product data. Are you going to enter the bank data? Are you a bank employee? No, you are not bank employee. You are supposed to develop the application. You create loan product table. You create employee table. This kind of tables you create. Data entry कौन करता है? Organization का आदमी करता है. Organization का employee. बैंक में बैंक employee, बैंक clerk करता है. Company में HR department में HR executives will be there. They will be doing the salary fixation, data entry of the salary. In a payroll application, in that an employee table, they enter the data. आप क्या करेगी? टेबल क्रिएट करके रिस्ट्रिक्शन डालता है आपको, टेबल के ऊपर कंस्ट्रेंट्स डालता है. तो आप डालने के बाद वो गलत किया तो वो डेटा एंट्री ऑपरेटर, वो बैंक एम्प्लॉय गलत किया विदाउट एंटरिंग अकाउंट नंबर, वो मनी ट्रांसफर करना खुद ही समवेयर एल्स, फ्रॉड को नॉट अलाउड. इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू सपोर्ट द फ्रॉड. And compulsory you have to enter the account number to transfer the fund or deposit the amount. Simply take the money and give some. Your account is deposited without account number, without slip. आपको deposit हो गया, जाइए means क्या कहता है आपको? No, मेरा acknowledgement दे दीजिए. Okay, so that is the reason. So there is always a chance in real time. The end user, the data entry operator, may not enter the data by mistake, by knowingly, unknowingly. At that time, कौन पकड़ना? आपका definitions, आपका restrictions, आपका code जो develop करता है वो पकड़ता है. Immediately inform to that fellow, sorry, your entry cannot be entered because you are not enter the mandatory field ENO. आप टिकट बुक करने के वक्त IRCTC में आपका डिटेल्स कुछ फील्ड को स्किप किया तो क्या करता है? रेड लेटर्स में दिखाता है मैंडेटरी फील्ड्स आर नॉट फिल्ड. क्यों मार रहे हैं? बैक एंड में आप जैसे डेवलपर्स नॉट कंस्ट्रेंट को डिक्लेयर किया. डिक्लेयर करने के बाद वो प्रोग्रामिंग में PLSQL programming in 2-3 days we write a PLSQL program. This type of error आ गया तो क्या करेगी? वो इन्फॉर्म करेगी वो आदमी को. किधर इन्फॉर्म करेगी? वो स्क्रीन पर. आपका मैसेज वो स्क्रीन को कैसे जाता है? आपके तरफ से पाइथन को जाता है, पाइथन से HTML को जाता है, या नहीं है तो आपका मोबाइल ऐप में आता है. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? डेटा एंट्री किधर कर रहे हैं? ब्राउजर में कर रहे हैं, नहीं तो मोबाइल ऐप में कर रहे हैं. वो HTML पेज है. HTML पेज से डेटा पाइथन प्रोग्राम को आता है. एग्जांपल बता रहा हूं, ऑलवेज पाइथन और जावा .NET व्हाटएवर इट मे. उधर से किधर आता है? Oracle डेटाबेस को आता है. Oracle डेटाबेस को कैसे आएगा? PLSQL प्रोग्राम से आता है. डायरेक्टली सीधा टेबल को नहीं आता, PLSQL प्रोग्राम को आता है. हम PLSQL प्रोग्राम भी सिखाएंगे आपको within 2 days में. So it will come to the PLSQL program. From Python PLSQL program. PLSQL से टेबल को आता है. टेबल में वो डेटा को इंसर्ट करने की कोशिश करता है because he already pressed submitted without entering the mandatory value ENO or account number, train number वगैरह. Then immediately when try to insert, immediately वो return fire करता है. वो PLSQL प्रोग्राम या Oracle डेटाबेस इंजन PLSQL को बता देता है. PLSQL पाइथन को इन्फॉर्म करता. पाइथन HTML पेज में ऊपर आ रहे हो, मोबाइल ऐप के ऊपर दिखाएगा आपको रेड कलर में, मैंडेटरी फील्ड इज नॉट फील्ड. अंडरस्टूड द सिनेरियो? हाउ मच इंपॉर्टेंट द नॉट नल, हाउ इट इज रिस्ट्रिक्टिंग. ओके, किधर से किधर जा रहे हैं? डेटा एंट्री ऑपरेटर से HTML स्क्रीन और ऐप स्क्रीन से पाइथन काइंड ऑफ मिडिल टायर, पाइथन जावा .NET, फ्रॉम देयर PLSQL, फ्रॉम देयर Oracle database SQL. ठीक है तो रिजर्वेशन बुक होता है, मिसिंग हुआ तो ये Oracle database server immediately raise the error. क्या error? 1400. वो PLSQL Python को बताता है ये error है, then it will inform to HTML, then it will be displayed onto the screen. Wrong data दिया तो भी ऐसे ही होता है. Okay, this is the way. So this is the way not null are restricted. So you have to be very careful in representing this kind of thing. So just for your understanding, I am going to actually do the recording of this information to the document. Okay, so here example. This is the example. Okay. Example. Okay, observe ENO is declared with not null. So data entry is mandatory, but in insert command, data entry is made for salary column only. So it raised Oracle error with the error code Vara-0 1400. Okay, this is the error code. Look at this. Okay, understanding? This is the thing. And what it is saying, hr.emp504.eno cannot insert null value. Cannot insert null value. Okay, even sometime deliberately you are going to write like this also. Insert into EMP504 values. I am not writing the column names directly. सीधा दे रहा हूं. I given null and then salary 10,000. क्या होता है इसमें? Same error आता है. Deliberately I given null. Either uppercase null, lowercase null, mixed case null. There is no difference. Null is null. You try to make null, it is given an error very clearly. Okay, this is also another way. Null. So directly null also sometimes we are going to type. Okay, so another note point. So here constraint. Okay, so here the note point you have taken as this one 1400. Okay, the error is important, so that is another note point for you. Be careful. That error you remember. Whenever I ask, you have to tell. So write all error codes somewhere in the back side of the book in your notebook or somewhere in your laptop. One file you open it. Common errors 1400 Vara-0 1400 for not null, violation of the null. Okay, somewhere you write all the errors so that when you go to the interview will be able to tell properly. Then constraint name, the next one is a constraint name. Okay, So constraint name. So whenever you define any constraint, Oracle database server assigns a unique name for the constraint for identification of the constraint, because a lot of constraints we define. Okay. Every constraint that is declared on a table is assigned with one unique name by Oracle. Okay. And it can be seen from the user underscore constraints data dictionary view. There is a data dictionary view. Yesterday I already shown two views. User underscore tab underscore comments, user underscore call underscore comments. One more data dictionary view I am showing. User underscore constraints. Constraints. One more view. Okay. One more view. User underscore constraints. One more view. Okay. So now look at this. How to see the name of the constraint. Select constraint name. Select constraint name and constraint type from user underscore constraints, where table name should be in uppercase or lowercase. Uppercase. If you type the table name in lowercase or mixed case, if you say I am not getting the constraint names, or means I will scold you, because I am telling you right from beginning, table names, column names, when you write in a where class, should be done in capitals only. See, the constraint name is given as sys underscore C005902 and constraint type is C. C means it is a one kind of checking. It is checking or not? Checking whether the data is entered or not. It is checking. Okay. C. Otherwise you feel C as a compulsory. You can feel like that also. Okay. Can you remember this number? Not so convenient, no? Remembering this number is not convenient. So can we give our own names? Yes, we can give our own names also. Understanding? Right.
So for default values, do we use any constraint or only default value?
Default value. It is not a constraint, no name for it. It is not a constraint, no. I already said default is not a constraint.
Suppose we select state as Maharashtra and it automatically select country as India.
Default values, those are all. Okay. This is automatic. If you want to enter something else also, it is allowed, no? Okay. Yesterday we made gender as M. Even if it is not prevented as entering the female. Today I entered A also. Correct or not? It won't prevent it. Default is it speed up the process. That's all. It's not a restriction. वो ज़्यादा speed करने के लिए मदद करता है बस. Okay. So let us see. See. आपका टेबल नहीं क्रिएट किया, आपको टेबल क्रिएट कीजिए पहले. No, it is always uppercase. You have to give the table name also in uppercase. Okay. No chance to give like that in invalid table name. So see here, सब लोग getting, yeah. First you have to create the table, then only we'll get it. Otherwise, table does not exist. Invalid table. Okay. No rows selected. Lowercase में दिया तो. Okay. So I created table with 504. I created table with 504. I given 505 or 554. So it is not there. No rows selected. If the table is not there, we have not created. No rows selected. Okay. गलत table दिया तो नाम no rows selected आता है. You in your who asked the doubt? Excuse me, who asked the doubt? You invalid table name. You check not that one. User underscore constraint spelling check कीजिए. User underscore constraint.
Constraints.
Ah, yes, that may be missed. Okay. Hello. 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 हेलो हेलो कृष्णा वो नहीं आ रहे आवाज माइक पर आइए यस हाँ नंबर सम नाम बस problem solved. Why? What error is coming? Invalid table. User underscore constraints given properly. Invalid. What error? Okay. इधर blank space छोड़ दिया आप और blank space हटा दीजिए constraint blank space है ना आ गया ना हेलो 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 yes so here you may be getting different errors because of leaving blank spaces giving wrong spellings okay this type of things will happen so you just don't worry you just go through the examples and practice slowly we get the answers don't worry so but remembering this constraint name is difficult. Remembering the constraint name is difficult. That is the reason what are you going to do? We are going to give our own name. Since it is difficult to remember this constraint name, which is generated by the system, by the Oracle, user defined. Okay, user defined name can be declared. Okay, so see the example how to declare user defined name. Okay, so how do you define a user defined name? So create table EMP505. So ENO number of 6, constraint name constraint name EMP505 ENONN. Generally, how do you give the constraint names? So what is the industry standard for giving the constraint names? Table name in short, column name in short, and then NN is not. Understanding this? So table name in short, column name in short, NN stands for not null. So I am declaring it is a not null. So now system generated number sys_c00 something number will not come, because that number we will not be able to remember. You may ask a question, why I have to remember the number? Because I already said in future you are going to write a PLSQL program to solve this issue. If anybody enter a wrong data from the data entry operator to HTML place or app, from there to Python to PLSQL, there you have to write a code program for this to handle it. Okay, so that is you should remember it. Understand? So then salary is number of 9,2. So after not null spelling is given wrong. Okay. So NOT. Right. Then the earlier command what we defined for selecting the constraint we can use 505 in uppercase 505. So here it is going to show the name given by you, EMP505 ENONN. Then immediately this, whenever this error comes, immediately we'll find out, we will come to know, yes, data entry operator not entered the data for ENO column in this table. This is the way. Is it clear? Bus. Okay. Suppose you declare a table, at the time of declaration you forgotten to give the not null constraint. Then you realize I have not given the constraint. By mistake, I have not given the constraint, but table is created. There is no problem. You can alter कर सकते टेबल को बिना ड्रॉप करके existing टेबल जो आप क्रिएट किया वो टेबल को हम मॉडिफाई कर सकते हैं, अल्टर कर सकते हैं. Okay, that means altering the table for declaring not null constraint. Okay, altering the table for declaring not null constraint. So at declaring not null constraint on an existing table column. That means table hai, column bhi hai, but constraint is not there. We can alter it. Okay. See here, do you have a constraint on salary column? We don't have a constraint on salary column. Even you describe the 505, simply describe EMP 505. Not null is there for only ENO. For salary, not null is not there. But I can add it. Alter table EMP 505. Okay. So modify. I am modifying the table. For which column? Salary column. Okay, with what? Constraint name EMP 505 underscore salary underscore NN not null. Understand? See? We define it. Now, again, right. So we can add it. We can add a constraint on a table. पहले नहीं है, बाद में ऐड किया. Okay? See. So it is added later. So this is a way we can declare not, you need not to take attention. Okay. No, I have not added a constraint at the beginning. Generally, in real time, while creating the constraints, after creating the table only, they add the constraint. पहले table constraint declare करेंगे. पहले हम table declare करेंगे. बाद में constraints add करेंगे. बिल्डिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन कैसे होता है? एप्लीकेशन डेवलपमेंट इज सिमिलर टू बिल्डिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन ओनली. बिल्डिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन कैसे होता है? नीचे से ऊपर तक पहले कॉलम्स, बीम्स, सीलिंग सब हो जाएगी. बाद में इलेक्ट्रीशियन आता है, प्लम्बर आता है, फ्लोरिंग करने वाला आता है, सीलिंग करने वाला आता है, इंटीरियर करने वाला आता है, कारपेंटर आता है. करता ना? जो आदमी आके वो काम करके हो जाता है. Like that, पहले एक टेबल को क्रिएट करना, बाद में जो चाहिए वो आकर करके ऐड करना. ये तरीके एप्लीकेशन डेवलपमेंट चलता है. No, not like that. I will do everything at the same time. So लेट हो जाएगी. बिल्डिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन, एवरी वर्क, ये रूम खत्म होने के बाद दूसरा रूम कंस्ट्रक्शन करूंगा, नीचे से एक पहला बीम अप टू ये रूम तक जाने के बाद नेक्स्ट रूम के लिए अगेन एक्सटेंड दैट वन, अगेन स्लैब रखना, जॉइंट आता है. डिजाइन बेटा ना. So that is not the right way. Like a table also creating with all constraints, all of them at a time will take longer time, sometimes fail. कुछ गलत किया तो पूरा वेस्टेज हो जाएगी. Table error आ जाएगी. Table is not created. So smoothly create a table, बाद में constraints add कर. That is the industry standard. Understanding everybody? Yeah, real time learning is different. College में ऐसे नहीं होता. Table के साथ constraint भी नहीं करना है. ऐसे नहीं करना. Okay? पहले table को create कीजिए, बाद में constraint add कीजिए. Other table use करें. At a time, several marginal constraints can be declared in single alter table command also. Okay? So that is also possible. Yes. Yes, we can add the columns also. Okay? So this is the way we are having the concept. Tomorrow the discussion is there. How do you use alter table command for adding the column, removing the columns? Okay. Again, फिर से I don't want the not null constraint. We can remove the not null constraint also. We can make it null also. Okay. So see, I am making it null also. So बाद में see जो कंस्ट्रेंट ऐड किया वो I decided to cancel it. कैसे कैंसिल करेंगे आप? वो सिंपली कॉलम को आप क्या डिक्लेयर करना? नल ही डिक्लेयर करना। नल डिक्लेयर करने के लिए नाम डालने का जरूरत नहीं। कंस्ट्रेंट नेम इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड। यू जस्ट से नल। देन क्या हो जाएगी इससे? वो नॉट नल जो दिया वो निकल गया, हो गया, रिमूव। So ऐसे how to make a column null, how to make a column not null. Okay, so you got the idea now. Okay, so with the author command we can make a column null, we can make a column not null also. Okay, so declaring or removing not null on a column. Okay, on a column. So we can remove it also. We can remove the not null. So when we don't want, we can remove. Right? Then, so several columns also we can declare anyhow. That's about not null constraint. I hope all of you understood. Okay? So let us take a break. 7:54, 8:10 तक आ जाए. Okay? End user comfort के लिए आप यार वेट स्क्रिप्ट एसक्यूएल स्क्रिप्ट को लिखना पड़ेगा यूनिक्स यूज करके करना पड़ेगा लिसनर स्टार्ट करो सर्विसेज को जाओ Whenever we get the order, go ahead. एक मिनट होने के बाद because this minimum takes some time, 1 minute max time, then we get एक मिनट के ऐसे का do it still it is not connected, you have to follow this right system constraint is what is system constraint name you need to say whatever is declared that's all given name
whatever is declared constraint name
that's all
it always be same
रिप्लेस करने के वक्त only आप देना है देने के बाद आपको you can change
user given constraint name we can change
you drop करके और एक नाम दे otherwise alter table constraint rename one option है rename करके भी change user constraint or system constraint rename Oracle generate also be with the rename command we can change in future that is a alter command right now
कमेंट करने के बाद ये एरर फेस हो रहा है
comment के वो error को कुछ भी नहीं है this is comment on this one column so it is showing invalid identifier ये column का नाम आपको गलत दिया एक टेबल में क्या नाम दिया कॉलम का नाम यही कॉलम देना है एक कमेंट कमेंट में भी अदरवाइज कॉपी पेस्ट कर देंगे इधर जो है वो कॉपी करके उधर
पेस्ट कर कॉपी कर
यस वो क्रिएट हुआ just one yes
और दिस लाइन
और कुछ no कुछ भी नहीं
दिस लाइन सेम
तो आइडेंटिफायर का नाम चेंज करने के बाद भी वही एरर दे रहा है कॉपी पेस्ट करने के बाद
कॉपी पेस्ट ठीक से नहीं किया LE underscore repay allow पूरा हटाना वो डॉट भी हटा दीजिए एक बार अभी फिर से
डॉट
नो पूरा निकाल फिर से टाइप कीजिए लोन प्रोडक्ट लोन अंडरस्कोर yes perfect loan product dot LE repay allowed okay save कीजिए save file save exit then run कीजिए so still if the error is coming the problem may be there also table is created but that column नाम वो जो दिया वो अलग invalid invisible character है जाके वो column नाम पूरा निकाल के फिर से
टेबल
create table में वो column को पूरा delete करके type कीजिए then जो देता है वो because while typing in some invisible character वो हमको नहीं दिखाता इसकी वजह इधर प्रोडक्ट डॉट मैक्स
और कॉलम में जो नाम
सेम प्रॉब्लम अलग कॉलम पर आ रहा है सो उधर जाके वो रीटाइप
चेक करने के लिए स्क्रीनशॉट लीजिए
कर दीजिए ना जो कहता है वो आप कर दीजिए हो जाता है so you retype the column name create table name again whatever the column name you retype the same thing you give and then save exit come back. Invalid identifier so it is showing invalid identifier for which one for this one not one. So what you have given you given a comma why you given comma is fine. That is a problem. हो गया
कॉलम का पूरा नाम चेंज करने के बाद वो ये
जस्ट कॉलम नाम ये दे दो
एबीसी नाम दिया
ना
एबीसी
एबीसी नाम दिया कैरेक्टर नहीं आता ये ना क्या है कॉलम एलईडी पे
सिंगल सिंगल सिंगल
ड्रॉप नहीं करते वो एक क्या होगा अंडरस्टूड द एरर क्या है एरर
टेबल वो राइट
हाँ पहले टेबल के ऊपर ये चेंज कर रहे हैं वो चेंज नहीं हो रहा सो ड्रॉप करना यही गलत है आप करना अभी तो काम करते हैं ड्रॉप करना
ड्रॉप भी किया
नो 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 नहीं किया इसके वजह नहीं तो पुराना डेफिनेशन हम नया डाल रहे हैं वो नई वो हटाने के बाद Yes.
6 months duration.
Yes, in one notepad file, write one insert command with interval 0 icon. Again, एक command के नीचे और एक वो semicolon डालने के बाद दूसरा line पर the same file, right? More insert command 06 with another. No, table नहीं, table का छोड़ दीजिए, वो data insertion. वो file में 3 or 4 insert command. It's different data, but the interval पहले रिकॉर्ड पे 0 icon, दूसरे रिकॉर्ड पे 0 icon 3 months 6 months 1 year. Data input. Drop the table. Drop table. मैं change करने को बोला ना तो no table is not created. Your problem is table is not created. लोन का table का spelling क्या है? Spelling table का नाम देखिए जो spelling क्या है spelling? Here error is not column mistake. Table is. Hello. What is the problem? Describe. Why you are adding the fields?
EID not fill out.
अब ऐड करना
Just trial purpose. इधर से करते हैं।
ऐसे निकालते हैं वो नहीं है ना नया फील्ड डाल रहे हैं ना
हाँ 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 मैं
Yes. Hello. 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 Hello.
Sir, Oracle created constant name will always be same, but
You can change with
we can rename it using the alter command.
not rename, alter rename command.
Alter rename. तो सर ये जो rename होगा temporary होगा.
I'll give tomorrow. I'll explain that. Okay. Hello. 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 कृष्णा एक बार आए माइक थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम दे रहा है. हेलो 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 क्या हो रहा है आज से?
बैटरी डाउन है सर बहुत सारी, और जो चार्जिंग वाली है वो 4 ही है।
Okay. Right. Yes. So we have seen the Nortonal constraint so far. Now the next constraint I am going to show you unique constraint. The next constraint is called unique constraint. Listen carefully. It is declared on a table to maintain non-duplicate values on a column. Silence please. If you start discussing like that, you will not get the concept. Listen carefully. It is declared on a table to maintain non-duplicate values. See, in any company, employee number is unique for every employee. Account number is also unique for every account holder. Duplicate values is of no use. Okay, see here, I am creating a table. Create table EMP 506. I am writing ENO number of 6. I am writing constraint name EMP 506. Okay, and then ENO unique constraint UK stands for unique constraint. Say unique. Okay, say unique. And then salary number of 9,6. So now the unique constraint is declared. You want to see the constraint name, you can see the constraint name here. See 506 के table के ऊपर क्या constraint है? If you want to see, you can see the constraint name as EMP 506 underscore ENO underscore UK. The type U stands for, it is a unique constraint. The type U stands for unique constraint. Hello. 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 कृष्णा फिर से गया वो आवाज. Hello, hello, hello. हाँ?
बैठ के ही पढ़ा है
क्या?
दूसरा माइक
हाँ. हेलो, हेलो. राइट. हर दिन ये कनेक्ट करो ना, बेटर. बैटरी चाहिए नहीं दे.
नहीं चार्जिंग वाला क्या
ओके,
तो
ओके, राइट. Yes, look at this. We declared a unique constraint. Now you try to insert the data. Insert table name into EMP 506. EMP 506 values 100, comma, we are having salary as 10,000. So ये लेता है पहले, because this we are entering first time. Again for the same 100 और एक सैलरी दे रहे हैं. से आप सैलरी फिक्सेशन कैसे करेंगे? 10,000 और 20,000 करना, दोनों नहीं देता है. 10,000 भी देता है, 20,000 भी देता है, दो कैसे देंगे? That is wrong. So it is showing unique constraint violated. EMP 506 underscore ENO underscore UK violated, because again for the same employee those salaries cannot be entered. एक सैलरी ऑलरेडी एंटर किया, एक सैलरी फिक्स किया, हम 100 एम्प्लॉय को 10,000 सैलरी फिक्स हो गया ऑलरेडी. होने के बाद फिर से और एक सैलरी फिक्स करना रॉन्ग है. सो वो अपडेट कर सकते हैं, बट और एक दूसरा एंट्री should not be there. One more 100 should not be entered. Entering one more 100 is not possible. You can enter 200. 200 is okay. दूसरा एम्प्लॉय को आप डेटा एंट्री कर सकते हैं. Again for same 100 employee, again you cannot enter one more time. It is not possible to enter one more employee with the same employee number. Understanding? This is the way the error will come. This is called unique constraint. Okay, this is called unique constraint. Now just I am writing the example here for your practice purpose. Okay, then next one is a primary key. We are going to see one more is a primary key. I think all of you understood. When you declare a unique constraint, duplicate value cannot be entered. If you give one number already, for another employee the same number cannot be assigned. You can use different number. First, for employee A, you entered 100, given as the employee number 100. For another employee B, you cannot use 100. You give 200. Okay, this is the way you can do. So now next is primary key constraint. Primary key constraint. That is the next one. Primary key constraint. Next one. So what is primary key? So you know what is meant by a prime minister. How many prime ministers are there for India? Only one. Prime. Okay. Prime numbers, the numbers which are actually of unique behavior, they will be divided by themselves or by one only. They will not be divided by factoring, will not be there for a prime number. Prime means it is a unique kind. It will not be factorized also. Prime, we call anything prime, it is of that kind, only one will be there. So in any table, you want to maintain rows of that kind, only one. Then we are going to declare a primary key constraint. So in fact, primary key is nothing but a combination of not null constraint and null constraint. Primary key is a nothing but a combination of not null constraint and null constraint. So instead of declaring not null and as well as unique constraint both together on a column, you can declare a primary key constraint with single constraint. Okay. Understanding what is the difference between primary key and this unique and not null constraints is, on a column, in order to declare unique as well as not null, two different constraints, we declare only one constraint, that is called primary key constraint. If you declare a primary key constraint, वो कॉलम के ऊपर दो कंस्ट्रेंट्स आ जाए, दो कंस्ट्रेंट्स का बिहेवियर आता है. एक ही constraint is only one, that is called primary key. But a primary key अंदर दो बिहेवियर रहता, एक बिहेवियर यूनिकनेस, दूसरा बिहेवियर not null. Okay, say declaring primary key constraint, declaring primary key constraint, declaring primary key constraint gives two features. One, not null, and second, unique. Right. In general, primary key constraint is declared on a column, which is used to identify a row without fail, without confusion. Okay, without confusion. So on a table only one primary key is allowed. Okay, so how we are having only one prime minister for India, like that only how many primary keys are allowed? Only one primary key is allowed. Note, on a table only one primary key constraint declaration is allowed. Only one primary key constraint is allowed. So see here, create table EMP 507 ENO number of 6 constraint name EMP 507 and ENO PK primary key ename varchar 2 of 20 salary number of 9,2. So missing invalid option. Create table EMP 507 ENO number of 6 constraint name EMP 507 ENO PK primary key ename. Here the double bracket came, that is the reason table is not created. Okay, so this is the way I defined it. If you see this one, the constraint name for 507, it is showing how many constraints? It is showing how many constraints? Only one constraint. What is the type? P. P stands for what? Primary key. Previously, unique constraint is shown with U, unique constraint, and not null is shown with C. That is a check, or that is also called compulsory constraint. Okay. So this is the way you can define a primary key constraint. In the primary key constraint will be having not null behavior also. See EMP 507, the column it is showing as a not null, correct or not? And at the same time, if you try to enter a duplicate value also, it is going to give an error. See, insert into EMP 507. So first I am entering 100 for an employee AAA, 10,000 salary, one row is inserted. Again the same 100 I am trying to enter for another employee BBB. It shows unique constraint. This constraint name EMP 507 ENO PK violated. That means a primary key constraint is only one constraint, but it is having two behaviors. One behavior is not null, another behavior is unique constraint behavior. Understood? All of you. Primary key is only one constraint, but it will have two behaviors. One is a not null behavior, another one is a uniqueness behavior. So it is a combination of not null and unique. Okay. On a table, how many primary keys we can define? Only one primary key. How one prime minister for India, like that only one primary key can be defined. Whereas not null, we can define on every column if you want. Unique constraint also, if you want, on every column also we can define if you want. But primary key is not like that. It is declared on only one on a table, only one primary key constraint can be defined. Is it clear? Okay. So let us save this one for your practice. Example. So after defining the table also, with alter table command we can add a primary key. Declaring primary key constraint on an existing table column. Okay. So if you want to define a primary key constraint on an existing table, we can do it also. Okay. Look at this. See, the error code for primary key is 1. Remember, error codes you have to remember, I said. Okay. Then next is, see, already you created a table. Create table EMP 508. Without primary key you define number of 6. Okay, without primary key you defined a table. E-name varchar 2 of 20. Okay, you defined a table. Later we can add a primary key. Alter table EMP 508, add. Okay, add constraint name EMP 508. Okay, ENO PK primary key. Okay, on column ENO. Like this, we can define a primary key on an existing table column also. Okay, we can define a primary key on an existing table also. I declared a table without ENO column. I declared a table without primary key on ENO column. I declared table with 2 columns, ENO name, but primary key is not given. But now I added a primary key with alter table command. Alter table name, add constraint name, primary key on ENO. On ENO. Alter table name, add constraint name, primary key, primary space key on ENO column. So that automatically primary key is defined on it. Both the null, not null will be there, behavior as well as uniqueness will be there. Understanding? So in real time, we use this alter table command always. Why? Because while declaring the table, generally we declare table without any constraints. Later only we define the constraints. Okay? So you should remember always alter table commands for defining that. This one I'll show you also. Today I'll add the constraints to the table and I'll send the employee table also to you. The same thing you can repeat on loan product table. Okay, clear? Understood all of you? Right. So then next is check constraint. Next we are having check constraint. Okay. Check constraint. Yes. All which table is a primary column? Select command you use it. I used now previously. P. Primary key is with P. Correct or not? Primary key is P or not? So use select the query. Select constraint name, constraint type from user underscore constraints where table name equal to so and so. Then it will show the constraint on the table. Okay. So like that, if you want to see column, on which column the constraint is there, so select column name. Okay, column name and constraint name. Column name and constraint name from user underscore cons underscore columns where table name is equal to EMP 508. So on which column the defined the which constraint it is going to show. On ENO there is a constraint on ENO column. Understood? Got the answer? Yes. You cannot if there is a duplicate. If there is a duplicate. Okay? If there is no duplicate, it will allow. Be careful.
So can we use primary key and unique key?
Already it's there in primary key, unique key is there. Again, you cannot declare. Already behavior high. Okay. Huh? No row selected because you given wrong table name or table name in lower case. Upper case dena padega. Okay. Right. Huh? Prime Minister 1, primary key 1. Hmm. Nahi rata. By default, no constraint on any table. Yes. Huh? Table name? Nahi hota. Hmm. 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 क्या है? Hmm. No, tomorrow I'll show how to add the columns. Okay. Yes. Next, see the check constraint. Listen carefully. Check constraint. It is declared on a column. Declared on a column to restrict the column. Restrict the column. Entering only a value or list of values. Okay, a value or list of values. Check constraint is for what? Only specific value you are allowed to enter. You cannot enter whatever the values you want. For gender column, you want to enter only M for male, F for female. Like that, if you want to restrict, we can restrict with the help of the check constraint. Okay. For gender column, okay, for gender column, we can declare check constraint. Okay, we can declare check constraint to restrict entering only M for male, okay, and F for female. Understanding? Like this, if you want to restrict any table, a check constraint can be made. It is declared on a column to restrict the column, entering only a value or a list of values. For gender column, we can declare check constraint to restrict, okay, entering M for male and F for female. Okay. Look at this, how I restrict it. Look at this. Create table EMP 509 ENO number of 6 ename varchar 2 of 20 gender character. I am writing constraint name EMP 509 gender CK stands for check constraint. So gender can take a list of values within operator, either capital M or capital F, either capital M or capital F. This way we defined it. So again, somewhere bracket or something is missed. Let us see. The bracket is missed at the end. Okay, 3 brackets are required. Because one is for column, one is for list in, one is for table. Okay, this is the way we declared a check constraint with a list of values. Okay, with a list of values. There is a check constraint. We can see the condition, constraint, constraint name, such condition. Okay, such condition. So what condition also? So such condition, such option. Okay, anyhow, you write up to here only. So create table. 1 minute. So there is a option called such condition. See here, I am creating a table. Okay, first 509 and we are displaying such condition, constraint name, user underscore constraints, where table name is so and so. Column name is not there. Create the table, constraint name, constraint type. Okay, constraint name, constraint type, and then such condition. This one is a user underscore constraints will give you the information. Such condition. Okay, it is showing there is a constraint with this condition M and F. Understanding? So this is the way we can restrict a table with a check constraint also. We can restrict a table with check constraint also, a column. Now if you enter any value other than M and F, in the morning I shown entering A, is given a wrong thing. It is accepted. Wrong data is accepted in the morning. But now if you enter A, it is not going to accept. Okay. If you enter wrong data A, it is not going to be accepted. Understanding? So how do you declare a check constraint? Create table, table name, EMP 509, ENO number of 6, ename varchar of 20, gender character of, okay, constraint name, check, gender in M comma F in single quotations. Then table is created with a constraint EMP 509 gender underscore CK. The constraint is check constraint. It allows only capital M and capital F. Even if you enter small m and small f also, it is going to reject. Capital M and capital F only accepted. And that can be seen with such condition, whatever the such condition is there. Now I try to enter a, see, data insert into EMP 509 values 100 AAA, small, capital A in the list. Is the capital A is allowed? Not allowed. Then check constraint violated. The number you remember 2290. The number you remember 2290. So for not null constraint violation 1400. For unique constraint 1. For primary key constraint 1. For check constraint 2290. 90. Remember these points. Okay. So now you just practice it. I'll be sending to you this PDF. Don't worry. Time is getting over. The task for today is we have to finish it. Now, whatever we have learnt, okay, constraints on the table, okay, that is not null, primary key, or unique check constraints. Now we have to declare on the loan product table. How we are going to declare on loan product table, I'll show you with the practical one employee table, whatever we have prepared in earlier. Look at this. So drop the table employee and go to the ed colon, whatever the table script you have prepared earlier, you take that table, and already in this table, header section is there, anchor section is there, create table command is there, comments also added. After all these things, okay, you write the constraints. Okay, you write the constraints. So first give a documentation adding primary key on ENO column. Okay, adding primary key on ENO column. So this is the way you have to write. Then write alter table, table name employee, add, go to the next line, write constraint, constraint name EMP underscore, column name ENO, PK. Since it is a primary key, write primary key and column name, because the table is having 4 columns. Declare a primary key on ENO. Like that only, okay, adding not null constraint, okay, on ENO, ename, okay, gender columns. Okay, not null constraint on ENO, ename, gender columns. See, alter table, I am adding the not null constraints all together. Okay, alter table, table name employee, modify. Okay, so on ENO, I am adding a constraint, ENO constraint, okay, EMP underscore ENO underscore not null. Okay, but not necessary to declare on ENO. Why? It is already primary key. There is a not null constraint on it. So on ENO, no need to declare a primary key. No need to declare not null, because as part of the primary key, not null behavior is there. So you have to declare not null constraint on ename column and gender columns only. So ename, write constraint, constraint name as EMP ename NN not null. First column is completed. Then put a comma. Again for gender, declare a not null constraint, constraint EMP gender NN not null. So at a time we declared 2 not null constraints on 2 columns of the table. Okay, we declared primary key constraint and then we declare a not null constraints also. Finally, we have to declare only check constraint for gender column. So I am writing alter table employee add. Okay, so for gender you have to add a constraint, constraint name EMP gender check constraint. It is a check, write gender in, okay, capital M for male, capital F for female. So you have to write. So with this one, all the constraints are defined on the table. Now the table is fully restricted. It is secured. The table is secured now. So once the table security is made, you can perform the data insertion. Okay. So this file I am going to send for your reference. Based on this file, you have to declare the constraints. You have to declare the constraints on which column? Loan underscore product table. Okay, see, I am saving this. I am going to run this. Okay, see here, I am saving. I am going to run this. At the rate symbol. See, table is altered. Table is altered. Table is altered. First table altered for primary key. Second table altered for not null. Third table altered is for check constraint. So successfully we added the constraints on a table. Now the table is safe and secured. It will allow you to enter only right data. Wrong data cannot be entered now. Intentionally also. Okay. Understood. Intentionally also you are not allowed to enter the wrong data. It is going to throw error. 1400 error or 1 error, or it may be 2290 error. Check constraint is 2290. Okay. Understood this point. So now in the specification, if you see, in the specification of the loan product table, if you see, okay, you see the loan product table. In the specification of loan product T, we are having constraints, keys. Keys are there. Look at this. We are having the keys. So look at the keys, whatever are there. See, PK, primary key. That means you have to declare a primary key on product ID, not null on product title, and not null on product summary. And interest type, not null is there as well as check constraint is there. What are the values allowed? Capital F and capital V. One check constraint also there. Like that, another check constraint is there for here M and O. Remaining are not null constraints only. Okay. Again, another check constraint is there with not null for early repayment Y and N. Like that only, we are having a not null constraint, a check constraint with O, C, and H for product status. Like this, we are having 4 check constraints. We are having 16 not null constraints, 1 primary key constraint. So you require to write 1 command for primary key. All 16 columns are declared in 1 alter table command for not null, and for 2 check constraints, 2 separate commands you write. So total 4 commands will come. Whatever the loan underscore product table you have prepared in the previous day or today, at the end of the table, after writing the comments, first write alter table command to add the primary key. Then you write another alter table command to add not null constraint on 16 columns, whatever are there. Then the last 2 alter table commands for 4 check constraints. What are the 4 check constraints? Product status is 1 check constraint, 1 alter table command. Another alter table command is early repay allowed. Okay, that is also check constraint. Again, one more security required, 1 more check constraint. Interest type, 1 more check constraint. So 4 check constraints, 1 not null constraint alter table command with 16 columns, and 1 primary key. Total 4 plus 2, 6 alter table commands you have to write to implement 1 primary key, 16 not null constraints, 4 check constraints. Okay, total 21 constraints are there in this. Understand? Then only the table become secured. Then you write a insert command to insert 1 row. Today's task is what? Insertion of the row also. Sample data I will send to you also. One sample data also I will send to you. Use the sample data and insert the data into the loan product table. Insert command already known to you. Okay. So no need to explain. So this is the sample data. For product ID, CIBC, PLOC. Product title this one. Product summary this one. Interest type F. Interest rate 8. Like this, we are having for every column. Okay, term minimum 1-0, term max 5-6. Like this, data is clearly given. So the sample data file is sent to you. Employee.sql with all these constraints is sent to you, and the PDF is also sent to you, and video lecture is also sent to you. What more you want? Okay, I am sending this many. You have to send only 2 files. One file is loan_product.sql file. Another file is insert loan_product_insert.sql. Only 2 files you have to send to me. I am sending many files for your support and understanding. Right? See you tomorrow positively with all of you should, at least many people, majority people should complete the task. Okay? Thoda hard work karna. Right? Tell me, what is your name? Huh? 8? No, that date constraint is inbuilt, is not there. We have to make it in a separate way. In PLSQL, we'll do it. Because date values generally checked by the HTML page people. That is the reason not given. Okay? Right. Yes. No, not. Same. What can I make after? Huh? ओके सेम सपोज आपका भाई है आपका घर में सेम नेम दे सकते हैं अलग टेबल में दे सकते हैं सेम टेबल में नहीं देते अलग अलग टेबल में दे सकते हैं सेम नेम ओके करेक्ट कंपेयर नहीं दिया सर्विसेज को चाहिए सर्विसेज सच में सर्विसेज को चाहिए